Zora is a social app where every post and every profile are a tradable coin. And so anytime somebody buys or sells a post, it actually drives the value of the creator coin up. That's sort of how I give them the rundown. And then the value prop is as easy as, it's a free social network where you can post and get paid.
There are some familiar names and obviously a lot of crypto PFPs on some of the top creator board over here. And then there's also Fake Taxi, which is number one. And I think that's a porn brand. So I'm not climbing the ranks that way is what I'm promising the coinage holders. I'm keeping my shirt on. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Coinage. I'm your host, Zach Guzman, coming to you live from our Brooklyn studios here in New York City as we are diving into the exciting evolution of bringing the creator economy on-chain. Obviously, if you know anything about us at Coinage, it's something that's near and dear to our hearts. And as we're seeing this continue to play out on-chain, a lot has been happening on Zora. And I'm super excited to have the co-founder of Zora on the show with us today. Dee Goens joins us. Dee, it's good to see you, man. It's been a long time, but welcome to Coinage.
Hey. Thanks for having me, Zach. Thanks for having me, Coinage. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man, it's exciting because, there have been a lot of talk about what the on-chain economy might be, obviously with the big base push and what Jesse's been talking about in bringing creators on-chain and bringing content on-chain. And now what you guys launched at Zora with creator coins, I think there's a lot to dig into today and kind of giving ownership back to fans of creators and creators. So I'm super excited to have this convo with you. But before we dig into all the specifics and even get into our experience at Coinage launching our own creator coin, I just kind of want to back up for those who might not know what Zora is all about and ask you just for like a basic explainer. How do you describe this to the creators you're reaching out to now or the users that you're trying to reach? What's Zora's in Dee's words?
Yeah, for sure. Zora is a social app where every post and every profile are a tradable coin. That simply means that there's an open market for buyers and sellers to participate in for every post and every profile. Creators earn 1% of every trade in like a royalty form. And so for every post that gets traded and for every time that somebody buys or sells a creator coin, the creator's actually earning 1%. And so that's whether they buy or sell. And so there's a bit of a royalty baked in there. And then every post is actually paired with the creator coin. And so anytime somebody buys or sells a post, it actually drives the value of the creator coin up. And then every creator coin is actually paired with the Zora token, meaning anytime that somebody buys or sells a creator coin, the Zora ecosystem and community actually increases in value as well. And so, that's sort of Zora in a nutshell. It's a top 100 app in the iOS App Store today, top 100 social app. We've got about 4 million users in total, 2 million actives last month. That's sort of how I give them the rundown. And then the value prop is as easy as, it's a free social network where you can post and get paid.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting piece is kind of, all right, there have been experiences and attempts at some of this before. Certainly, if you're in crypto, you might know them well in terms of BitClout and FriendTech. But I think what you guys deserve credit for is kind of bringing this to mainstream in a way that it's a little bit easier to navigate and kind of putting crypto on the background, maybe not kind of front and smacking you in the face. And really, I think we have a chart of kind of some of the adoption in terms of creator coins launched recently, just to kind of show the on-chain activity. But it has been popping off, and sometimes there's a return to normalcy. But it's been exciting, man, to watch from where we sit, and obviously it was exciting enough for us to want to throw coinage into the ring as well. But I guess that's kind of one of the other questions around this is like, do you liken it to kind of bringing Instagram on chain? I mean, talk to me about how you landed on the idea of creator coins versus just having content coins and what that evolution was like inside the walls of Zora.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, we've been at this for the last 5 years. We've experimented with just about every type of token model that helps to reward creators, including NFTs, open editions, 1155, 721s, you name it. And so it's not really by happenstance that we landed at the creator coin model or the coin model in general. It's actually 5 years of experimentation that have compounded into learnings around what's required to really make this thing successful. We landed on the coin model because it's the most liquid, it's the most well integrated, it's the most established. And it's really the most durable model that we've seen for token issuance and token engagement throughout the entire crypto ecosystem. And so if you were to watch what happened from like 2022 to 2023, we were very active in the open editions market. Creators were making a decent amount of money, but as meme coins started to really take off in late 2023 into 2024, we saw the attention for traders and consumers and really the entire crypto market start to shift away from the sort of open edition merchandise model into much more of the fungible liquid market model. And so we started to see trader demand taper off. We started to see excitement and engagement for minting taper off. But we still wanted to see creators have an opportunity to succeed in this ecosystem and still have an opportunity to benefit. And so we made what was a really controversial jump in late 2024 and early 2025 to the coins model, just to open up and expand the market opportunity for creators. It's since proven to be really fruitful for creators on the whole. I mean, if you were to watch what happened with open editions and one of ones, it's kind of like one of ones allowed basically only one person to capture all of this insane demand that was in the market. I mean, you might have thousands or tens of thousands of bidders, but you could only have one person that could actually take home the piece. Open editions went up in order of magnitude. It allowed, maybe tens of thousands of people to engage with this content, collect it, and own it. What fungible tokens do is they allow an unbounded amount of people, which is very akin to the internet and how engagement and attention flows on the internet, an unbounded amount of people to engage, consume, and collect this piece of media. And so it felt like the most natural format to pair with what we were really serving, which was, at least on the content coin side, which was attention and virality. And so if you wanted to match or allow, a million people, or maybe, hundreds of thousands of people to interact and engage with this piece of content and participate in this market while also serving crypto sort of, trader and speculative demand, you had to make the jump. You had to make the jump. What we've seen since is that, last month we did over 150, or the coins on Zora did over $150 million worth of trading volume. I think creator rewards are now in the multiple millions of dollars. We saw multiple creators last month earn, over six figures just from the trading of their content and creator coins. And so we're starting to see the model really take off and bear fruit. It just took us a minute to get to the type of scale and the type of sort of engine that could pair with, crypto's demand.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too,
exciting
because I wanted to talk about it because I think it's interesting to dig into exactly how some of that is happening for creators. Because from the outside looking in, candidly, when it was creator coins, I was like, I don't really know. I don't know, and I don't know if there's an attachment between like what we might consider good content for our audience versus content on the platform versus like short form content that's good there. And whether or not, like, we were large enough. But I think what is exciting is this idea of like people who are small creators that could just produce content. I think it's kind of like what TikTok capitalized on, which was like, you don't need to have an existing audience for your content to go viral and get seen, which I think is super exciting. And particularly like on that front, it was something that didn't, become obvious to me until we jumped in, is that like a lot of it is what you just described in terms of launching a creator coin. So I'll just bring up kind of like what ours looks like and what we're looking at in terms of our Zora page, because like the idea of earning in Zora tokens based off of what's going on there. I mean, how did you want the launch process to be different? And this is maybe speaking more to a crypto audience, how you wanted it to be different than like what existed in meme coins, right? And I'm sure you would probably take the position that what you guys are trying to do with creator coins are not meme coins. But how do you kind of like compare and contrast?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, first of all, meme coins are net new internet markets for attention. Like never before have we had the ability to speculate and participate on what we think society or the internet will find valuable or what will win attention in a market forward way. And so I think a lot of what meme coins fostered and demonstrated earlier in their life cycle is a fundamental shift in how we think about attention and how value flows to attention on the internet. And so, just want to say, I think that was like a huge shelling point in how attention is captured and monetized on the internet, and is a huge reason and a huge input into how we thought about rolling out creator coins and content coins and the like for Zora. And so I just want to say, like, I have I'm a proud supporter and advocate and fan of meme coins, and have been for a long time, as a fundamental shift in how attention flows on the internet and attention markets as a net new internet market for us to all participate in. And so shout out to meme coins overall. How we wanted this to be different. There's a lot that you can take from the history of what we saw on happening on other launch pads in the space, like a pump fund, et cetera, where, or really just like any time that a creator launches a coin, is that there's a lot of market pressures to perform, to maintain, to upkeep, to deliver results for the token. There's a lot of pressure to not sell, to lock tokens, like all of these things that, if you're a net new creator that's never really experienced crypto before, can be extremely daunting, confusing, or scary. And so what we tried to do, to the best of our ability, is to abstract a lot of that complexity away, deliver a quality experience for the creator where they don't have to do really anything to maintain attention on the token other than continuing to post on Zora, because every post is paired with that creator coin. They get 50% of the token up front, and it's locked over 5 years. It unlocks linearly on like a regular vesting schedule. And so they have an opportunity to have alignment with their community on the long term. And so there's a few just, small mechanisms that we wanted to bake in here to allow for the experience to be as supportive to a creator as possible. And so it doesn't feel like you're launching some massive market moving moment, and that you're going to have to maintain or manage some huge rabid crypto audience. It very much feels like you're creating a token for your profile, and as long as you're posting, that token will get attention, and if it gets attention, it has an opportunity to increase in value.
Yeah.
And by the way, you get to earn anytime that somebody engages with that content on Zora or trades that token anywhere on chain. And so we tried to make it as familiar in the profile creation experience as possible, and remove a lot of the sort of fears and anxieties that may come with managing, a large token at scale. And
Yeah.
I think it's proven to be pretty successful. I mean, we've had teams like yourself. We've had artists like, Chuck Anderson, No Pattern, etc. A few people who I thought were maybe on the fence about launching a coin or joining, who have now done so and leaned in and embraced it in a way that I think is definitely making me excited and encouraged at our execution on that front. So it's been great.
Yeah, I think that that's the interesting thing too, and it was something we kind of experimented with a couple different things before, and you mentioned kind of improving on meme coins or the differences there between what you guys are doing and meme coins, and I think that was we had a different experiment that we launched a little bit before we launched our creator coin, and it's been interesting to kind of compare and contrast that because. We at Coinage, we crossed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and got our little silver. There it is, the silver
Wow,
play
that's
button award.
incredible!
And so
Congratulations, man. That's a
yeah,
big
no,
deal.
so we tokenized it because I was like, okay, this is a thing. Like, not everyone can be Mr. Beast and get these things or whatever. And like a lot of people do want it and you can't buy them. And so we're like, all right, let's tokenize this. And we didn't really want to use Pump Fund for a lot of the sniping, a lot of problems there. So we tried Pink Sale and we launched it, and it was a pretty fun experience. But I think it was very true, like what Jesse and you guys and everyone else talked about, is like there's a lot of pressure in building that up and like launching it and making sure that you give it attention and blah, blah, blah. Whereas with the CreatorCoin experience, I think it is interesting just to think about having the market cap there, but not the chart, unless you really go digging into it. And then you find the chart,
Exactly.
and then you can kind of see some of these things. But I guess in terms of what you guys are trying to establish, it does seem similar to a launchpad trying to kind of squeeze in a new norm. And I guess that's what the 5-year lockup is that, okay, we can establish something that looks a little bit more trusted or more consistent from creator to creator, so people can kind of remove that issue when they're trying to figure out if they want to buy these things. Were there other
I
pieces?
also think that the pairing is like one of the more like breakthrough changes that we shipped as well. I think the only other team to ship a similar token model to this is Virtuals, where like the agents were paired in the Virtuals token. We went down another level of the attention stack though, and did that with the individual posts. And so now as a creator, like you get a creator coin by default on Zora, but it's the fact that your posts are actually paired in your creator coin that allows it to feel so organic. So every time that somebody is buying or selling a post, it's actually contributing liquidity back into your creator coin. It's actually adding value back into your creator coin. And so it makes it a more integrated experience, just in the market model itself,
Mm-hmm.
because you have that pairing. And so anywhere that those content coins live, or anywhere that they get traded, they actually add value back to your creator coin. And so as long as you're posting, it's a good chance that that creator coin, gets discovered and continues to find some amount of attention that we believe has a non-zero value.
Yeah, well, that was going to be one of my questions too, because if there is something that I feel like let's pair this back to like Web 2 corollaries here, and one of them may be like the follower count. There's a lot of people who really value their follower count in Web 2 social,
Yeah.
and might pay, to be honest with you, to run ads or do whatever, or like pay for followers. And you guys have the top creators page, which kind of shows the top creator coins by market cap here, which I think might be
Yeah.
similar, like akin to stacking everybody up. And theoretically, if you want to climb the leaderboard, you'd have to either find someone to buy your token, or I suppose, like you said, post more to get more people to buy your token. I
Mhm.
mean, talk to me about what this is here for in the implementation of kind of that, how it might be similar to maybe what people try and do with meme coins too, where they're like, damn, I got to really like pump this thing.
Well, I think first and foremost, it's for discovery. So a lot of traders, a lot of first time users on Zora, a lot of other creators will go to the top creators page to find out, yo, who's new and who's popping in the Zora ecosystem. Our marketing and creator acquisition teams do an amazing job at onboarding some of the more tasteful creators around the world. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people who are still early but are on the cusp of breaking out. And so people are scouring the top creators and new creators pages trying to find out, yo, who's the hottest new talent on Zora? What are they doing? And, what can I replicate to be valuable in a similar way? Taking a lot of learnings from that page. And then I like to think of it like, I'm like, oh man, it's not, it's kind of like the Billboard Top 100 or something, like it's actually really cool to see, like maybe one day as this all continues to expand, we'll see niches, top 100 video content creators, top 100 streamers, top 100 photographers. And that'll be the way that you can start to see, who's really driving the value of that medium on the internet, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool. And so, yeah, first and foremost, it's a way for people to discover, what's valuable, what's changing, what's moving up the ranks in Zora, just as like a top level view. And then also it's a place for people to have a bit of a bragging right and, get a bit of status as they, climb the charts. I
Yeah,
see a
that
lot of people who are always, I'm excited when I crack the top 50 or the top 25 or what. I'm like, oh man, that's amazing.
it is addicting, I gotta say. It's something that
Oh,
like
hey, your words, man.
similar to the meme coin experience. You're always checking in. You're like, okay, what's going on here? And then, I mean, I guess it's a self-interested question here, Dee. But I guess for people who might launch their own, who might play around with it themselves, like what are the tips to know for that to climb the leaderboard versus, I guess what you might do for like an Instagram or anything else to kind of try and play that algo. Is there something that like maybe people don't know about Zora in terms of, hey, if you just post more, that actually boosts you or whatever?
Well, I think it's as simple as that. I mean, I know it sounds a bit cliche, but consistency is key. And the more that you show up and the more that you post, the more opportunities that you have to win eyeballs on your content or win eyeballs on your creator coin. And so I do feel like it's as simple as showing up and consistently posting. And if you're not consistently posting, stay active. Double tap and collect something. Double tap and buy something. Share links with your friends. You'll actually see people starting to. We're seeing an increasing amount of people start to value the curatorial components of Zora, where if I go to a profile like Full Metal Droid, or if you go to my profile like Pray For Me, I might post, every so often, but I'm constantly curating my feed. And so if you jump into my activity page or if you jump into my grid, you'll see that I'm constantly buying and curating videos and images and memes that I really love to see on Zora. And so that means I'm constantly popping up in people's home feeds. And
Mm-hmm.
so staying active, I think, is the number one way that you can climb the charts. And the most valuable way to stay active is posting.
Yeah.
And then don't be afraid to share your work outside of Zora. We're building easier rails to allow people to share their posts directly from Zora to Twitter to Instagram to Farcaster to any of their favorite social platforms, TikTok, the like. And we're actually finding that with some of the lightweight creator tools that we've built, text overlay, like unique fonts, the AI tooling that we have that allows people to generate, cool custom images like the bust down Kiana grill with their own stuff. It's like a first go-to platform for their actual creation as
Yeah.
well. And so it's like a lot of people are natively creating in the app and want to share it out too. So don't be afraid to share it out. I would say
Yeah.
those are my three main ones.
Well, I think the experimentation, and again, I think it's super exciting to watch what you guys have done and how you built it over the years, just to kind of think about all the different experimentation going on in the creator space right now on chain. And that was kind of one of my next questions, was around how you see it integrating into some of the other platforms. Because even when we launched Play Button and our meme coin there, it was like, okay, we're going to tie this burn. So we burn tokens every month based on how many views we get on YouTube and X. And so that's kind
cool.
of like one way that we can like create a flywheel effect, on the platforms that matter for distribution. Theoretically, we can add Zora views to that as well, and kind of play around with different ways to monetize and use the token and create a flywheel effect. And you kind of mentioned the integration of Farcaster and Base. I feel like with everyone watching right now, it is kind of interesting to think about. All right, are the similarities here that Farcaster's X, you guys are TikTok and Instagram? Then what does that make Base? It's like, how do you see, as you mentioned, the rails? For the people watching this all play out, how do you kind of explain how they'll be integrated together if all this is going to be kind of in the Base ecosystem? Like, what should people know about those rails?
Yeah, for sure. Farcaster is very much focused, at least from my vantage point and from what I've heard from the team, obviously on the social graph element. And so the follower graph, DMs, casts, like all of the social graph and who you're connected to, how you're connected to them. They're very much focused on decentralizing that level of the stack. We're very much squarely focused on the market side. And so, like I said earlier, like Zora is a social app where every profile and every post have a tradable coin. And that simply means that every profile and every post have an open market. And so we want to continue to squarely focus on creating liquid and open markets for each level of the attention stack for creators to capture value from both their followings and audiences, as well as their individual pieces of content and media. Mm-hmm. And so I think we're sort of one level up from that. And then Base is stitching it all together. And so you could think of them as like I guess like in two levels, really. Maybe they're sandwiching us, which is hilarious. But at the consumer level, stitching it all together in their, the Base app. And then at the network level, allowing us to build on an extremely cheap, fast, and well-established blockchain. And so I think we each have our level of the stack that we contribute to. We each add value to each other. There's coins on Zora that are used as tips on Farcaster. The Farcaster social graph is integrated on Base. All of the content monetization rails on Base are actually powered by Zora. And so you wind up with this quilt of network integrations and protocol integrations that should hopefully lead to a more valuable and open creator economy on the whole. And so I view us as all playing a somewhat distinct role in what we're trying to achieve on chain, but all with very compelling consumer app offerings that, to some extent serve different audiences, which is where you get the Instagram versus TikTok versus, maybe it's like Meta or Facebook or something like that on the Base app side, or WeChat, the super app side. But that really just means that like our consumer apps are able to serve different audiences, but underneath the hood, we're able to offer all of the best in class on-chain tools that each of us have developed. And so that's sort of how I see it all coming together.
No, I mean, I think that's like the interesting piece to look at it. And I don't want to get too like three-dimensional here, but it's like that's the way to kind of look at like Web 2 comparisons in terms of like the platform. But obviously like what you guys are doing is like it's 3D because it's not just a platform. There's also the token trading across all these platforms, especially like when you have content living on all of them kind of seamlessly. And so that to me is also very intriguing. And then if you kind of extend the metaphor that, okay, this is all a play on the attention economy being as important as like the normal economy, stocks and bonds, whatever.
Mm,
There's stocks and
mm,
bonds in the real economy, but then for like the attention economy, what does that start to look like? I think again, that's kind of like what dawned on me and why we also launched our creator coin, because it's like there's a different way to monetize. We at Coinage take a very different approach too, because all of our NFTs give people the real right to own what we build here at Coinage. So we're a DAO
nice. That's
co-op,
really cool.
and we pay dividends back, so you can earn patronage dividends from our business as we sell ads and as we run our
Incredible.
validators. Like there's a way to do that, and we've tried to launch it, and we were the first NFT project to pay dividends here. But then I realized there's a whole new way to monetize that Zora has now launched creator coins, and so now it's kind of stacked in there, and so we're trying to figure out ways to now use this
Exactly.
Coinage creator coin to plug into, all kinds of different things, whether it's ads that we sell, whether it's potentially our top holders can automatically get an NFT or use their coins to buy the NFT. There's
Nice.
like a bunch of different ways to go. And I'm curious if you've seen, maybe it's too early, but have you seen some of the creators that have launched creator coins start to integrate it into what they've already built? Because it's like a new unlock in terms of attention bonds, attention equity, attention, community currency, like the way that people look at meme coins. So it seems early.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. We've seen a couple different sort of implementations of these small flywheels. We've seen Zeme and meme creators that are taking their creator earnings and buying back the token. We've seen teams that are token gating experiences on the other side of their token. And so if you own a certain balance of tokens, you're able to interact or engage in their community at a higher tier or a higher level. We've seen brands like propaganda, like brand studios pop up and use the token to bootstrap capital and then integrate it into their sort of activations. I think we're just really, really early in what we'll see. We just now made it sort of socially acceptable to launch tokens in this way and made it sort of safe for creators and for brands to launch fungible tokens in this way. But I think the other side of that is this concept of token weighted engagement, which I'm super stoked on. Like, I think we'll start to see tokens get integrated into just about every layer of activation, internet community, subscribership, like you name it. I think you'll start to see tokens make their way or infiltrate into these systems as a way of mediating how you can, as a fan, follower, or just audience member, engage with a creator or a brand that you love. And so I think it's really, really, really early days. And a lot of the experimentation that we saw in the last 7 years or so of crypto, attempting to do token gated chats and token gated sites. And I think a lot of that stuff starts to really shine here
Mhm.
now that you have tokens which are sort of socially acceptably tied to a creator or tied to a brand in a really organic way. And so, yeah, early days, but there's been some cool examples.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that was kind of like the unlock, at least in terms of where we sit and what we've done and how we seek to now implement this. Now that we've got a list as displayed on Zora with the top holders of our Coinage coin, it's like, all right, how do we start to implement this and bring some value to the thing in terms of how our community that we've now found can use it? And I think use Zora as a platform for people to discover Coinage, like you said. Hopefully, being on the top creators list, we'll see how we can try and climb the ranks best we can.
Hey, 2
But
million monthly actives. There's some eyeballs on there.
I mean, yeah, we just gotta figure out
Yeah.
ways to get up there. But I think that that's what we'll announce here now is that, okay, we will figure out a way for people to use their Coinage creator coins here, the Coinage coins on base, to then kind of use it to buy NFT memberships into unlocking, like I said, the ability to become a member and earn patronage dividends from what we've done. But I want to get back to kind of like how you see this growing for you guys particular, because I'm pretty sure, I think I saw in your guys' interview with Thread Guy that Mr. Beast is also involved in the idea of getting other creators like Web 2. Is that right, first of all? And then second, to get Web 2 creators of that size, is that kind of like where this goes and how you want to scale it?
Yeah, so slight correction on the Mr. Beast note. It was Knight Media that invested in Zora back in 2021. Mr. Beast was connected and affiliated with Knight Media at the time, so was a part of all of that discussion, but it wasn't.
Him
It
himself.
wasn't directly Mr. Beast. Yeah, I think Jacob did
Still
a
cool though.
reply tweet in there letting people know. But if you would like, there is some lore of the Zora cap table, which I will not leak here right now. But there are some really, really amazing names on there that are not who you might think. And so, yeah, there is some lore there, but it's not exactly Mr. Beast. Okay, so how do we think about scaling up into larger sized creators? So one thought is that every time that crypto gets slapped with like some massive name and it's like, oh, this big person is supposed to come do this massive thing, I feel like it always comes off as like a little like, huh? It like kind of feels almost like out of pocket to the space. And so I do think there's some risk with just going out there and like trying to get a big name as like a big band-aid to like make this thing look like it works. What I've been most encouraged by is sort of like scaling into the long, like the upper echelon of creators with a really fat long tail. And so what we've seen on Zora over the last like month or so, especially, is a massive influx of everyday, like let's call it like 5-figure to 6-figure follower account TikTok and Instagram accounts that are onboarding to Zora and basically mirroring and posting a lot of the same content that they would usually post on TikTok or usually post on Instagram on Zora. They're just taking Zora as like a new social network for them to establish an audience, monetize their content, and post what they would post on really all of the incumbent social networks. I'm more encouraged and excited by that than I am by just winning one big name, because I think as those stories stack up and stack up and stack up, you kind of have this groundswell that looks a lot like the foundational pieces of a net new creator economy that you can then layer on these larger, bigger names into. That being said, we have NBA players like Tristan Thompson. We got NFL players. We've got TikTokers with 1 million followers like Dino the Barber. We've got some with like 2 million followers. Like there are a lot of very established content creators who might not be household names who are on Zora today. Jay, our social lead, and I, we do a stream like twice a week now where we'll run through and crate dig all of the amazing creators. And I gotta say, sometimes I'm blown away of like there's this lady Baron the Baker who onboarded, and I mean she's got like a million followers on IG, like 150,000 followers on TikTok, and she's posting recipes and baker videos and got like a $20,000 market cap. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so there's like a really normie audience that is taking Zora in a very, very like natural and organic way that gets me really excited and inspired versus just having that one big name that, you know, could be a huge draw. Like, I'm not saying I don't want that, but I'm definitely more encouraged by having like the sort of army of everyday creators who are seeing the opportunity to benefit from it. And really, they're the ones who will most directly benefit from Zora anyway, because they often have the least amount of access to monetization opportunities. They often have capped earnings. Many of them are geo-fenced from earning opportunities. And so,
that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, can really benefit.
That's why I was asking the question, because there are some familiar names and obviously a lot of crypto PFPs on some of the top creator board over here. And, you know, Gabriel Haynes, shout out to him. He was one of our Coinage mentors as well, and love seeing his success. Cool. We actually bought one of his tokens. Because I was watching your stream yesterday. I was like, oh, yeah, Gabriel Haynes got a shout out. I'll buy his token. So Coinage owns some Gabriel Haynes.
I consider like he is so like undervalued to me. I keep saying, I'm like,
he's
this
a good
is
guy.
not market or financial advice, but I'm like, but he consistently shows up. The content is engaging. He's crypto native. I'm like, that guy got to be at $1 million. It's kind of crazy.
He's a good guy, and he's come by our studio before. And like I said, it's good to have him on there. And then there's also Fake Taxi, which is #1, and I think that's a porn brand. So I'm not climbing the ranks that way. Is what I'm promising the Coinage holders. I'm keeping my shirt on, but
so
it is interesting.
For what it's worth, the Fake Taxi flywheel and experiment, like agnostic of the type of media that they create and industry that they are in, has been actually something that is pretty impressive. I mean,
I'm not knocking anybody. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah, it's like, who are some teams that are integrating it into their ecosystems very well? I mean, they've integrated into chats, they've integrated into like paywall types of experiences. They've converted revenue from their merchandise sales into like buybacks. Like, if you were to lift and shift this to any other industry, I think it would be heralded as like one of the like best examples of token integration.
Well, I mean, look, that industry has historically been a first mover in a lot of different ways. I think they're the first to go to DVD as well, and it just happened time streaming. I think they beat Netflix there. But I think, you know, it is interesting to kind of watch all of this, and as you kind of tied it back, and I don't want to point fingers to anybody or any other, you know, experiments in the past, but I think you're right to point out that sometimes the crypto integrations do look like cash grabs. I'm thinking of, Iggy Azalea's Memecoins, one that comes to mind, where it's like, look, if you launch something and you kind of get incentives wrong and you misalign them, it's inevitable that like a token's going to go down. And we see this in like, not even Memecoins, but like layer one sometimes too, where it's like if you raise money and you have tokens and people need to sell, like that's going to happen, which is why like we chose to go a different route.
Like,
but
shout out to Ansem for working with Iggy and actually getting that all stood up. And like, I think she earnestly made an effort to like she showed up at the events, at the parties, they did things with the token. Now, look, I don't think that chart I can't really comment on.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that like if you get these incentives wrong, something like that'll happen, which is why like for our model, we're a co-op. So it's like people buy a membership, the money goes into the co-op manages all of our P together, we post it and we monetize together, and it all goes into the DAO, which is a very different model than like, hey, we've got an inventory of something that we might need to sell to monetize, and that's the only way we can sell is PvP, we dump something. And I think that that's kind of what's interesting about like what creator coins can be if they get integrated in ways that are different. Whereas I don't know if you've thought about like, okay, what happens here if we kind of get more seen as creator coins being just meme coins? Then you might set up the same PvP kind of dynamics where a creator can only like monetize. But I think that's what's cool about the Zora piece, where you're actually earning in another token for posting, because then you can monetize without selling.
We also lived the PvP problem firsthand. So pre-creator coins, when we only had content coins, every subsequent post from a creator was basically nuking the previous post.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, even like the base one, even Base's own token did that, I guess.
So you'd imagine, like you can imagine the pressure that puts on the creator. Because like once they post once, they're like, well, shit, can I even post again? Like if I post again, is it going to nuke the chart? If it nukes the chart, am I going to get eviscerated on crypto Twitter? Nobody wants to be in that experience. But we were still encouraging people to post, right? So like the PvP problem was very apparent for us in the content coins only era. When we introduced creator coins and paired each of the posts with the creator coin, it actually solved that problem. So like each of the posts now aren't cannibalizing the previous post. They're just contributing and compounding more value into the creator coin via that flywheel. And so it made it like acceptable and exciting and inspiring to just continue to post, which is why you see token issuance skyrocketing on Zora now. Because it's like, oh, I have this creator coin, which is a durable asset for for traders to speculate on. Every post adds value to that. All I have to do is post. It's fun.
Yeah.
And then in the creator coin case, it's more of like, hey, if I really believe that Coinage is going to be one of the more valuable media companies in the crypto ecosystem, or maybe just in the media landscape broadly, like now I have a easy and accessible way to go long Coinage. I can go long the attention that they're going to win for the foreseeable future. And as long as they're posting content, there's going to be a market for that. And so,
well, this is where I think I see kind of like the similarities between like what creator coins can be and what we've built too is like they're different, but they help each other, because also, like you said, if you want to go long Coinage, we've been doing this for 3 years, so people can buy an NFT that gives them the membership in here, and that's up 200% since we launched a little bit ago. And so it's kind of cool to see that happen and play out as we pay the dividend. And now as we add the creator coin, I just feel like that's another element here that we get to play with now, which I'm excited, because it's not just us. It's obviously everyone who came before us on Zora who's also launched their own creator coin. So it's just kind of cool to see these experiments happen in real time. And, we'll continue to share more on our experience, but I think already we've made like $1,000 in Zora, maybe potentially just by posting this week.
So like 2 days, like a day or so in. Yeah, that's pretty crazy, man.
It's not a bad start, but I think it's fun to see, man. And congrats again. And as you have these updates, would love to have you back on. I know we're at time, but I think, there are so many different ways to go about building this in this space. And I think you guys deserve a lot of credit for making it easy and clear that this is something that I think people who aren't in crypto can wrap their head around. And that's rare by itself in this space.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. We put a lot of time and a lot of effort into making this something that could be appealing to non-crypto natives while still having all of the superpowers of crypto underneath the hood. So I'm glad to hear it's landing well. And I'd be happy to join again as we continue to experiment and create this new creator economy.
Right on, man. Well, cool. Very good. And thank you for coming on. We'll keep an eye on everything else over there at Zora. But for now, the co-founder at Zora, Dee Goens, thanks so much for hopping on Coinage, man. We'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. Catch you later.
All right, peace, man. That's going to do it for us here on Coinage this time around. For Dee, for myself, for Texas, our producer extraordinaire behind the screen. For everybody else at Coinage, you can check out all the big headlines in Web3 at coinage.media, as well as mint an NFT to co-own the only community-owned Web3 outlet that's actually Web3 in the space. And I guess now we'll add the Coinage Creator Coin to that mix as well. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for tuning in.